Next up is City of Hobart, Stinky Creek Diversion Stormwater Project.
So I'm just saying, thank you. You can do whatever you want, you just share your screens. That's what I'm working on right now. Thanks. Where is? I'm thinking it's new. The bill one. Lifetime. I'm the other guy. Okay. I need right here. Guys, we have a problem. Got yeah. But see, that's why you have that's why you have the hard time. That's the case. Now you get to those. Yeah. Yeah. That's the AD type of case. You have a jump bag? We do. There you go. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not sure. Chairman can bring it. It's right. Good. Yeah, sure.
All right, well, thank you for having us here this evening again to talk about this project, and thank you for approving the claim for the design that we submitted. I'm Phil Graylick. I'm the city engineer for the city of Hobart. I have Bob Fulton, the president of our stormwater management board, is here, and we have Chip Thompson and Jacob Manzo from Avonmarsh engineering here tonight as well. Just a brief refresher of how we've gotten here. The Stinky Creek Crestmore neighborhood in the city of Hobart has frequent flooding. It affects a total of 850 homes. Approximately 10% of them, 80 homes, get water inside the homes themselves. I think we have 34 street locations that flood during major rain events. A couple residents literally have used boats in the past to access their homes after major rain events. And we've talked about this before, that Hobart we did our stormwater master plan update. We planned to do just a local project and essentially enclose Stinky Creek in a pipe and make the pipe big enough to carry the stormwater flows through here. We budgeted for that, planned it, issued an RFP, and the Avonmarsh Christopher Burke team came back with a proposal we hadn't thought of. And that was a regional stormwater project that, rather than just enclosing the creek and sending the water through the neighborhood into Deep River like it does right now, we would divert the water through a much larger pipe, not just through Hobart, but through Lake Station and New Chicago, all the way to a different connection point to Deep River, which would cut out between 4.5 and 5 miles of travel that the water has to take. And it would positively affect not only the Deep River watershed and system, but the Little Calumet River system as well. Because this water, up until as right now, when these rain events hit, this water becomes part of the storm surge of Deep River, which is what backs water up the Little Calumet River at times and can reverse its flow direction when Deep River reaches that flood stage. This pipe will, is proposed to be a 72-inch diameter pipe. It'll divert a total of just over 33 million gallons of water, almost 5 million cubic feet of water during during a 100-year storm that will get into Deep River and be out in Lake Michigan and no longer part of the Deep River storm surge when it merges with the Little Calumet River. So that will lower the flood elevation inside the Little Calumet River as well on these major events when geospatially both watersheds are getting hit at the same time. We had, as I said, budgeted for that local storm sewer project, and that's what we're proposing here to use to build this regional project. And the reason we're here tonight, the map here shows that, you know, the green line is Stinky Creek as it flows right now, and it merges with Deep River right next to Ridge Road, 37th Avenue, the old Highway 6. And then it flows from there through the city of Lake Station to the northeast and then back across the screen through New Chicago before it reaches the confluence to the northwest of what this map shows. The scope of the project, as I said, is to build a 72-inch storm pipe, essentially following the red line with existing easements and right-of-way. We've met with Lake Station, New Chicago, and Lake County and talked this through. They are on board with it, but financially unable to participate right now at this time. They don't have the resources to do that. Thus, we're here tonight as the applicant, offering to pay the matching funds, if you will, to get this important project built. But the route here, essentially at the southern tip of the red line, is the worst flooding spot in the Stinky Creek watershed. We're proposing to build a control structure there that will throttle down the normal flows of Stinky Creek. So essentially a 12-inch pipe will allow water to always flow through Stinky Creek. So we're not going to eliminate the creek completely, but when the flow can't get through that pipe, the overflow will fall into a structure attached to the 72-inch pipe, and that overflow will be diverted out of the watershed. Our schedule right now, we are in the design, as you know. We were here last year, I believe, and the commission awarded us $450,000 to proceed with the design of the project. We have been aggressively doing that and coordinating with other stakeholders in the watershed, and we'll get into some more of those here in a moment. We have started the permitting conversations, at least in the process, with the railroad, because we saw the railroad really as a critical path element in the schedule. We've got, well, that's a future slide. The project is basically 2.5 years to build. It'll be done in 3 phases if we can meet this schedule. With the first phase starting, of course, at Deep River and building behind the River Forest schools and into New Chicago. The second phase will get it from New Chicago to the railroad and just right to the edge, basically into Hobart. And then the third phase will get us all the way down to, or the second phase gets us to 37th Avenue. The third phase is under the railroad and Wilson Street and gets us all the way to our Geyer Street area, which is our bad, flooding problem. So if we stay on schedule, the Hobart flooding problem, we won't reach that spot until 2025 at this point.
We're trying to schedule around impacting River Forest High School is the area right adjacent to the school being performed during the summer. There it's as disruptive as little.
Yeah, to reduce the disruption to them as much as possible. And let's go to the next thing. this is a map to kind of show how the Stinky Creek is the gray watershed in the middle. The red line is where we're proposing to build the pipe. Turkey Creek Lateral 6 starts to its west in that pink area. So we're proposing, as I said, to divert the water out of the overflow out of the Stinky Creek watershed north and get it into Deep River faster, to get it out into Lake Michigan before the storm surge of Deep River actually hits. As part of the project coordination, we've had the wetlands delineated that are out there, and we're modifying some of the design elements right now to reduce our impacts on them. We have, as I said, we've coordinated with the cities and towns, but we've also met with the DNR and the Corps of Engineers. And overall, the folks we've met with so far have been positive, and we're beginning further discussions and getting the permit process underway with them. The railroad, as I said, we've already reached out to them. We got their standards. We modified our design to meet their standards, and we're not expecting them to have any technical difficulties with what we're proposing at this point. But they're a railroad, so start early, and we'll do everything we can to stay on them and get that done. But we don't anticipate a problem here right now based on our conversations with them. As I said, we met with River Forest High School. Originally, that teal line on the west side of the schools, it is an open ditch right now. We were planning to leave it that way. Schools did not like that because we were going to be adding so much water to it. Just our pipe alone is between 100 and 150 CFS that'll be coming out of it. So they've asked us to enclose that. So we've added that section as a pipe, with some sort of energy dissipation further to the north there before it actually gets into the river, to make sure the energy is dissipated and we're not going to just, blow the banks out and cause a environmental problem there. But the schools, we've met with the school board, and we're doing everything we can, as Chip said, to coordinate our construction schedule to make sure we're allowing access into the school there and not disrupting them any more than we absolutely have to. Our preliminary construction cost estimate right now is $12.4 million. This obviously went up significantly with the inflation that we all experienced recently. We believe this cost estimate is accurate. I think there's a 15% contingency in it, if it might be more legible in your handouts. We are asking for 80% of that cost from the commission, and that is essentially approximately the cost of the project outside the city of Hobart. I think there's 70% of it, it seems, is the cost. Is that about right? For what is north of 37th Avenue, roughly. So that's what we're here tonight to talk to you about. We wanted to come in at this point and talk based on our discussions with Dan, because if the commission were to approve this, we realize this is a large project, and we're going to have to talk about how it's funded. We talked about a couple of possible ways that could be done with Dan, but we're open to ideas. We're open to, Hobart issuing bonds to fund this, and then just having a, interlocal agreement with the commission to help us repay those bonds. And we already have the funds for the smaller project we had planned to do that we are going to put forward this. So are there any questions?
You had mentioned that you're talking with Lake Station and New Chicago.
Yep.
Is there a plan for them is this a straight pipe, or there's offshoots for them to tie in?
We're planning to stub a pipe out in each direction at every structure.
Okay.
And we've asked them to review the plans and show us where they need structures, where they have problems, where they want to be able to get to in the future. And we're willing to add those and work with them however we can.
And with that said, is the pipe gonna be large enough to carry extra volume of water if
Yes.
they decide to tie in
Yes.
as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been modeled to do that.
And when you were, you just talked about issuing bond, are you suggesting over time contribution? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, well, that's one of the options that we thought, that Dan and I have talked about, Bob as well, that would, as Dan explained, that would really deplete your ability to do other projects, and we understand that. We're here sort of hat in hand, hoping that we can build this regional project that will benefit Hobart and the commission, as well as New Chicago and Lake Station.
Have you spoken to the state about funding it, any of this? Potentially,
Not sure which state,
the state of Indiana, for possible funds for a project like that.
we look for grant funding sources and haven't found any,
Mhm.
but I don't know that we've had conversations with state senators and representatives yet.
Most of the grants that are available to us kind of aren't of large enough. You know, if we're talking about a $12 to $13 million project, and they're talking about grants up to 500.
Every little bit helps,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
So what are your plans if you don't provide funding for you?
We probably have to revert back to building the local project and just sending the water through the neighborhoods and into Deep River at 37th Avenue. Yeah, I don't see any way Hobart can do this without your assistance.
In the previous monies that were contributed, did you guys spend time engineering that scenario?
No, we haven't. But we would,
All the funds expended on this design?
no, we're still in design, probably 70%.
So of the
80%.
400,000, you have 100,000 left, about 120.
Roughly, yeah.
Has Lake Station or New Chicago come forward with any possible funding on their own to coordinate?
They have not. They've made it clear they
They don't have.
cannot participate.
So you're solely gonna fund this with, with your request. for this.
Yes, that is our intent.
At this time, the study only shows relief for residences within Hobart right now.
Yes.
And on the slide here, it says 85 homes approximately.
Yeah, that's just.
The number than on your smaller scale project yet, or you turned your focus on this?
We turned our focus onto this. Our last cost estimate was, I believe, $2.5 million for the neighborhood project. I think that's what the budget might have been three, in that $2.5 to $3 million range.
that was long before the price increases. So
Sure, yes. So that was before the price jump in pipe and everything.
I don't think that took into account some of the downstream. You have on Stinky Creek as a.
Sure. Yeah, there were no channel improvements past Wisconsin Street in that.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you very much. We'll pick it on the rise and let you know.
Thank you.
Hey, gentlemen, let's move on to the new business.
Mr. Vice Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the town of Dyer two-stage panel for Arctic watershed application for engineering only in the amount of $34,150 pending review by executive director, chairman, and legal, and final execution of the interlocal agreement.
We have a motion and a second. Second. A second. Any conversation? This was on last month's agenda, and we talked about this a little bit, but if we got any more questions, go ahead and continue.
I was asking, if Mr. Repay could give us a snapshot of what this is about.
There you go.
The Dyer's already done a two-stage ditch. They actually received an award, I guess, recently for the two-stage ditch by the hospital. They want to see if by doing a two-stage ditch from 30 to Main Street would generate any additional storage, slowing down of the water that eventually makes it to hard ditch. So that's what this is attempting to do. I think I have the correct geographic area that they're trying to do this in.